Yeah. So, and I know once, yeah. And so I know that whenever I call you and we've got something to sort out, it's always very useful to have somebody to bounce ideas off and to make decisions that way. Because often, when you rent out your property, you're going to have to make decisions, and when you're in your head, it's very difficult to know what to do. But having somebody who's already got the know-how, who's been doing this for years, but also who you can bounce ideas off, then you can actually get a better understanding and clarity about what to do next.
And in terms of regulation and compliance, do you feel we keep you updated and we do what we need to do to make sure your property is compliant? Because it's a big USP for us, so we always like to know that we are fulfilling that for our clients.
God, yeah, absolutely. And you send me messages all the time, and then I ask you, have we done that? And yeah, we've already done it. Like, okay.
Yeah.
So
fantastic.
So yeah.
Yeah. Good. Now, leading on to the dreaded fee question. A lot of agents have a range of offerings fees-wise, and we just want to find out from you whether you think the fee you pay us is value for money, especially the fact that we bill quarterly for our fees, allowing you a bit of cash flow, from the beginning of the tenancy. How do you feel about that?
I hate paying fees.
You're not allowed to have it for free.
No, I know, I get it. As I said before, when you don't pay, it can actually have you pay more in the long run. So I'm learning from my perspective that often when I kind of get into this sort of I don't want to pay, I kind of have to have a conversation with myself, because I have recently learned this again, that often or sometimes just because you want to have the extra bit of cash, there are very good reasons behind why you should pay for something that in the long run might cost you more if you don't. So I had to recently learn that again. And so I would say that based on what you do, how you do it, that it's very good value for money. Yeah, so no complaints here.
Yeah, good. I know we touched on the COVID pandemic briefly, and we've had it's coming up to a year, and we generally overall across our portfolio we've managed to achieve the 100% rent roll with all our properties, no evictions, no rent repayment agreements, that kind of thing. Would you say that the guidance given to you from us in terms of how to deal with these matters has contributed to those facts? So, for example, when the government mandates or issues legislation on certain things, and then we spend time interpreting that as to how it will benefit you, the pros, the cons, and then how to then implement it within the tenancy. Would you say you found that helpful?
Yeah, very much so. And once again, apart from I think it was 2 months or 3 months that we had with no one living in the property, we've managed to circumvent that, which has been incredible. And so with that in mind, having somebody just give you the information you need to make the decisions you have to make makes it much, much easier, because it's like a filter that you don't have to go searching for. Plus, once again, it's the same thing as like if you're not up to date then that could cost you money. So, you know, being in compliance is always really important with regards to, because I've had situations where I haven't been compliant necessarily and it's cost me money. So once again, it's just space and time that you create by having somebody on your team like you. So I'd much rather, I value that over having to do the work myself.
Yeah. Okay. And would you say that it makes a difference that we're not local to your property? Because we're not local to your property. 3.5 years down the line, how do you feel about that?
No, it makes absolutely no difference at all. None whatsoever. Like, you still manage to go to the property when you need to. You still manage to get the tenants that you needed to get in and show them around. As far as I can tell, it's not made any difference at all. So local doesn't mean result. As far as I can tell, based on the way you are, you get the results regardless of whether you're local or not.
Yeah, and I guess the fact is that in this day and age, you know, transacting business online more so over the last year, it's just almost the norm. It doesn't really geographically, it doesn't really make that much difference.
No, it doesn't at all. It doesn't at all, and you know, I almost feel like estate agents are becoming obsolete. Not quite sure where they kind of fit in the game, especially now. I mean, I can imagine that, well, everything is online. I mean, most people are looking for properties online. I know I did when I bought the property. Yeah, so I just... if you work online and you don't necessarily have to, you know, pay rent with massive like office in some high street, then of course the costs are going to be much lower.
And the final question for you: would you recommend our fully managed services to other UK and overseas landlords?
Sure, absolutely, I would. Yeah.
So, and that's it in a nutshell. Thank you for your time, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to serve you. And I hope we look forward to many more years of
me too.
looking after your property. Thank you so much. Bye.
You're welcome.